So good morning, I'm here with Dr. Vasiliki Zali of the University College London, and you organised a panel yesterday on Herodotus.
Yes, on Herodotus' reception in antiquity and beyond.
And can you tell us a little bit about how the panel was put together, and then maybe a little bit more detail about what you actually do?
Yes. So I thought it would be a really good idea, given that reception is a very fashionable topic and there's loads of interest in the way Herodotus was received, especially not in antiquity but even later. So I decided it would probably be a good idea to present something like that. And then I managed to find papers covering different periods of Herodotus' reception. So we started with Tim Root's paper, who was talking about the reception of Herodotus' prologue, the mutual abductions of women,
Right.
and how this was received by Aristophanes in his Acharnians.
Yeah.
So he argued against this interpretation, and he talked about modern receptions of the proem. And then we moved on to my paper, which was about the reception of Herodotus in Xenophon. And so I was arguing that the way Xenophon is using myth in his speeches is very close to the way Herodotus is using myth in his speeches, in order to emphasize, to reveal rather, the complex Athenian character as a not contrast, well, as a mixture of self-centeredness and selflessness.
And this is specifically the Athenian speeches?
Yes. I had to limit myself to the Athenian speeches, because otherwise it's a very broad topic and the time limits were only 20 minutes. So.
And what makes you think that Xenophon is recording Herodotus here? And let's say not
recording Herodotus. I'm just saying that the way he's employing myth is very close to the way Herodotus is employing myth.
Right, because that's interesting.
And this has to do, yes.
I was going to say that that's quite interesting, because people normally talk about the relationship between Xenophon and Thucydides. After all, Xenophon picks up the story after Thucydides leaves off, as it were.
After all, yeah, but this doesn't mean that he's imitating Thucydides.
Yeah.
There's also the matter of literary competition. So maybe by choosing to continue Thucydides, he wants to write something better than Thucydides. The other thing is that there are also many common things between, Xenophon is picking up many things from Herodotus as well. So the Hellenica is a mixture of Herodotian and Thucydidean elements.
And this specifically on the speeches, you think that the way the Athenians are representing themselves in Xenophon is much closer to the way they do it in Herodotus and not in Thucydides?
Not in Thucydides, because I think that Thucydides is focusing on the pragmatic Athenian outlook. The Athenians in Thucydides do not want to be flattered, they do not want to remember, they don't need to remember what they offered to the Greeks in the mythical times.
Right.
The Athenians in Thucydides have an empire, they are the best, they are the most powerful.
So the here and now matters for
Yes,
them,
exactly. Whereas in Herodotus, the Athenians are looking to the past because they need to prove themselves to the Spartans, to the Greeks. In Xenophon, the situation is quite similar, because after the Peloponnesian War, Sparta was the hegemon, of Greece. And Athens needs to prove to everyone else that now she is, it's recovering from the Peloponnesian War and setting up a new empire, or trying to set up a new empire.
And they're using myth in order to construct themselves and reconstruct their power.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. So I think that's really interesting, especially since we find in both Herodotus and Xenophon pan-Hellenic elements.
Right.
Whereas that's not that prominent in Thucydides, although one of the people that attended my paper yesterday mentioned that it's also been observed that Thucydides may be expressing pan-Hellenic sentiments as well.
Right. In what way?
So,
do you remember?
That was the question. So I answered that it could perhaps be that he is perceiving, or he casts pan-Hellenism in a different light, in the sense that he is talking about an internal war between the Greeks.
Yeah, this is...
So
yeah,
he's showing all these
yeah.
bad things happening during the war that should be avoided in the future. So in that sense, he's probably putting forward the idea for Greek unity.
Yeah, that's the thesis of Price,
yes.
isn't it? So,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
The Peloponnesian War is like a stasis, it's a civil war.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
That's interesting. And what about the two other papers, is that right?
Yes. The next paper was about the reception of Herodotus in Hellenistic times, a very interesting topic, because Jessica was talking about competing traditions concerning Herodotus' origins, connecting him to Pella, Macedonia.
This is Jessica Priestley, yeah?
Yes,
and so she was using the biographical tradition to say something about the reception.
Yes, although she was saying that the evidence we got is very sparse, but still we might be able to get something out of it.
And the last paper?
The last paper was about the reception of Herodotus in Byzantine times. He was talking about Procopius.
Who was this?
Matthew de Bacca.
Okay, Matthew. Okay.
So he was saying that the way these authors are using ethnography is very much close to the way Herodotus is talking about ethnography in his books.
And I guess, why did you organise this panel? How does it relate to the research that you've been doing?
I wanted to give a paper on the relationship between Herodotus and Xenophon. So although this is not straightforwardly reception, it's more of, well, not even intertextual, it's more of the way an author can influence indirectly perhaps or implicitly another author.
Yeah.
I thought it would fit in within the reception context, and then I wanted to bring together all these different people in order to show that Herodotus was very popular even later on, and that there are still some matters that are contested.
Yeah, it's a different way of doing reception.
Yes.
Actually, it's not how we conventionally think of it. It is actually very interesting to look at ancient receptions as well as modern receptions.
Yes.
That's great. Well, many thanks. It's been really interesting talking to you, and we'll see each other again sometime.
Definitely. Thank you very much.